Deal sourcing can make you a significant amount of income with very little investment. But is it all it's made out to be? In this video, I'm going to share with you the truth about sourcing deals and how it works. If you're here for the first time, my name is Saj Hussain, and on this channel I have 3 videos a week that we release to share with you my 15 years of property investing experience to help you get further faster in your property investing journey. So deal sourcing, first of all, what is it? Well, I describe it as a way of making money from a property opportunity. Now, some people will describe it as sourcing, other people call it packaging, and some people even call it trading property deals. So I think the important thing is that I see this as 2 aspects of being able to structure these deals. The first part is finding the deals, which is the sourcing element. The second part is packaging, where you are selling that deal on for a profit even. So this is a little bit like being a broker, where you're sitting in the middle, a little bit like your mortgage broker would do, for example, where they understand what it is you're looking for. They go to the market, they find products for you, and then if you're happy, they'll make the application and manage the application all the way to the end until you get the money. They don't actually sell you the product, but they manage that process and they help you. And deal sourcing is very much the same. Why is deal sourcing such an attractive strategy? Well, one of the main reasons is it doesn't require very much capital to get started, and if you're very early in your property investing journey, it can be a great place to start. In fact, when I started my property investing journey about 15 years ago, that's where I spent a lot of my time understanding deal sourcing and sourcing deals for other people. The challenge is that many people, unfortunately, within our industry and some of the property gurus out there sell it as this amazing dream that everybody should follow. The thing is, it is not an easy strategy, but the great news is it's the best place to start to be able to cut your teeth and where it filters out the wheat from the chaff. Because if you're determined and to learn this strategy and implement it, not only will you get great results going forward, but it'll also help you build your own property portfolio as well. You might be wondering, when is the best time to use this particular strategy? Well, I believe this is a strategy you should be using all the time, because sourcing is something not something that you do to be able to make some money at some point in your journey. This is a skill that you learn to be able to find these fantastic deals so you can cherry pick the ones that you want. And then it's optional whether you choose to sell and package up the rest of the deals and monetize those. How do you set up as a deal sourcer and packager? As I mentioned, there's 2 aspects of this. The first part is being able to go out and find these deals, negotiate them, and secure them. The second part is to be able to find the investors, to be able to negotiate with them, to be able to manage that process to the completion of that particular transaction in order to get paid. So there's a number of key skills that you need to develop. Your marketing skills, being able to find deals, being able to find investors. You've got sales and negotiation skills, which you're going to be using with the sellers and also with the buyers as well. Then you need analysis skills, where you can analyze the deals and make sure the deals stack up and the numbers are good. The research around that as well. Then you need to be able to manage the process all the way to the end and all the other people that are involved in this transaction. And then finally, you need to have patience to be able to see these deals through to the end, because sometimes they can become frustrating, and sometimes the deals will collapse and feel like it's not going to work, and other times you might be able to revive them and see them through all the way to the end and finally get paid. How do you set about finding these particular deals that you're going to be able to sell on and make a profit? Well, one method would be to find sellers directly, or sometimes known as direct to vendor. Other times it may be properties that are already on the market, listed with other agents you might find on portals such as Rightmove and Zoopla. And then of course you might be using other brokers or deal sources where you are part of the transaction. This is where it can get a little bit flaky, where there's too many people involved in the transaction, but there are a few of the ways of being able to find the deals. When people talk about deal sourcing, primarily what they're talking about is deal packaging. It's the whole process and not just a bit about finding deals. If you want me to talk more about sourcing deals and how to find these deals, I can do a whole video on that for you. Pop it in the comment section below. Enough people ask for that. I'll do a video specifically on finding deals. Here I want to focus on the packaging. If you're enjoying what you see so far, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and enable that notification bell. So let's talk about the packaging side of deals. Although the role feels like that of a broker where you're finding sellers and you're finding buyers and you're sitting in the middle, you're actually in law seen as the role of an estate agent. So the way you are treated legally is no different from how an estate agent is treated when you set up as a deal sourcer stroke packager. So the compliance that applies to estate agents then also applies to us as deal sourcers and packagers. So what does that actually mean? When you're an estate agent, you're finding somebody who wants to sell their property, you take it to the market and sell it, you're the person in the middle that's brokering that deal, and you get paid by the seller. However, as a deal sourcer and a packager, we are finding the buyer first, and then we are matching that up with a property, and we're actually getting paid by the buyer as opposed to the seller. So although it feels very odd when we talk about this as an estate agency type role, as I said, in law, that's how we're seen as, and that's the compliance that we need to follow. How do we set about becoming compliant as a deal sourcer or a packager or even an estate agent? Well, there's a few steps that we need to follow. The first one is to be able to work out how do you want to trade in terms of legal entity. Are you going to operate as a sole trader, just yourself, or are you going to work within the structure of a limited company? This is something for you to think about and also maybe speak to your accountant about in terms of what might be the right structure for you. Then you need to set up professional indemnity insurance so you're insured in the right way to be able to operate in this particular business. And also you need to register with the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office, for data protection and GDPR even. Then you need to ensure that you have a client account at the bank so you can hold other people's money. How is this different from a regular bank account? Well, client accounts are ring-fenced as other people's money. So God forbid if something happened to your business and it failed, that money is separated out because it belongs to somebody else. It's other people's money that you're holding and not yours. So again, when you're dealing with other people's money, you need to register with the HMRC for anti-money laundering. So what that means is you need to do some checks on the people that you're working with in terms of where their money is coming from and making sure that it's all legit and there's nothing illegal about the source of their money. You will also need to register with the Property Redress Scheme. Currently in this country there's a choice of two. There's the Property Ombudsman and the Property Redress Scheme. Whichever one you pick, you need to register with one of those. And then of course you will need your terms of business in terms of how you work with people, what your rules of engagement will be with your sellers and also with your buyers as well. All of this will probably cost you about £2,000 ballpark in terms of getting all these things set up. In terms of time frame, it could take a number of weeks. Some things take longer than others before you can get fully operational. Of course, there are other things to consider as well. For instance, you might have public liability insurance, you might have employee liability insurance, your correct car insurance, for example, you have regular bank accounts, your website, your branding, all these other things that you would need in the business. But what I've really been focusing on here is the key things that you need to be compliant as a property deal sourcer and a deal packager. So you might be thinking right now, Saj, that's all well and good. You've told me what I need to do to get set up, but how much money am I actually going to make? Well, when you come to charging fees, there's an amazing website that you can look at to look up all this information. I'm only kidding. There's no such thing. The numbers are literally all made up. It's about how much value you're going to bring. That's the thing that you need to be thinking about. So the fees typically I charge when I was sourcing property range from about £2,000 to about £7,000. It can vary. It really depends on the transaction and the deal. I'll often get asked, is there a way around all this compliance? Can we somehow get around it? Well, in short, the answer is no. However, you can set up in a slightly different way to do business, and that's to focus on the sourcing bit but not the packaging, because the sourcing part where you go out and find the deals, there's no compliance involved there. when it comes to the estate agency model. That model falls into place when you are selling deals to other people. That's where the compliance needs to fall into place. So if you're just focusing on finding the deals and you work with somebody else that's already a compliant deal packager and you let them do the selling side of the deals, that way you don't need to set up all the full regulation. And that may be something to think about, especially when you're starting out and not necessarily wanting to go through all those costs. Look, if I could give you one big massive tip when it comes to sourcing and packaging deals, that is you need to get very, very good at finding the deals. When you get good at finding the deals, you don't have to worry about everything else, because I can promise you the money will come and find you. There'll be people that will be willing to work with you in terms of getting things set up for you. There'll be packagers that want to work with you. There'll be other brokers that want to work with you. You might want to cherry pick some of those deals and partner with people as opposed to just selling them on to maximize the money that you're making from these deals. When I started sourcing deals, but then very quickly I transitioned into starting to partner with people so we could keep some of those deals and keep a profit. Because if you think about it, if you're purchasing or if you found a property that's worth £100,000 and you've got a discount to say 20% and you're going to package this deal and offer it to somebody else, that's £20,000 of value. Yes, you can charge a fee. You can pick what that fee is going to be, whether it's going to be £2,000, £4,000, £5,000, because there's still a significant profit for the person who's going to acquire the property for you. However, you will make that £5,000 once. You've sold it, you've taken that money. The person that purchases the property or takes on that property, they'll make the £15,000 equity immediately in the transaction, and then they'll be maybe making, a few £100 a month, maybe £5,000 or £6,000 a year for the rest of their life. If you can partner in the deal rather than just sourcing it on, there's so much more benefit. Another tip I can give you when you're sourcing is to understand your investors and what they're looking for as well. Some investors were looking for below market value property. Some investors were looking for returns in terms of yields. Some investors will be thinking about return on their cash employed in a particular transaction, i.e. cash on cash return. What you need to do is understand their needs so you can mirror it with the deals that you are finding and stick to a certain type of deal. Whether you're finding distressed sales that are going to be used as family lets, whether it's HMOs or rent to rents, whatever it might be, stick to a certain type of deal. One of the biggest mistakes that I see sources making, particularly new sources, is that they find something that they think is a deal, they try and force the numbers to fit, and then when they're selling the deal, what they're doing is damage their reputation. And what you need to do is think about, if this is a good deal, is it something, if you were able to, would you purchase it and acquire it yourself? That's always been my motto behind sourcing deals. If it's good enough for us, then it's good enough to sell. And if it's not good enough for us, we really shouldn't be selling it to anybody at all. Because believe me, it takes a long time to build a reputation in this business, and it will take you 5 minutes to destroy it when nobody wants to do business with you at all. When it comes to deal sourcing and packaging, it's actually a huge topic. There is so much to it. Here I've really just been able to give you a bit of an overview, and give me your thoughts. If you're sourcing deals, your experience, make sure you put it in the comment section below. But if you've got a specific question for me, remember I'm here every Monday at 8:30 p.m. on my live show where you can ask questions and I'm happy to answer those for you. If you've enjoyed this content, it'd be really great for you to share this with one person you think that would value it too. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel and enable the notification bell, because I'm doing 3 videos a week to ultimately help you get further faster in your property investing journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.